Hi, I'm Dan Pasquale.
I'm Rachel Perlman. We're CapitalTweets, and our tool analyzes congressional Twitter accounts. Since we last saw you, we've downloaded our database and are in the analysis stage.
In the past week, we've refined our ideas and focused the scope of our project. We've streamlined our data collection protocol so that our analysis will be based on only a few attributes: username, date, and tweet text. We've also decided which demographic variables we'll be using for comparisons: party affiliation, state represented, region, gender, age, ethnicity, and religion.
With regard to technology, we've learned we cannot limit ourselves to JavaScript. We've added Python to our toolbox. Specifically, we've used a publicly available Python library called Tweetbee. Tweetbee allows us to acquire the entire timeline of a Twitter user through a Python script that accesses the Twitter API. Also, we've decided to not include word cloud visualizations in our project, but rather to focus on other quantitative textual analyses.
Here on the whiteboard, we have laid out the architecture of our project. First, we use Tweetbee to access Twitter and download the historical tweets from all congressional Twitter accounts in JSON format. This generated 527 JSON files totaling 190 megabytes of data. We then access the JSON files along with our demographic spreadsheet with our JavaScript code. This code is the heart of our project. It contains a code that parses the JSON objects, strips the text of punctuation and URLs for word frequency analysis, identifies retweets, and detects the presence of themes that we define. We are still refining this last feature. An HTML file calls this JavaScript code along with the Google Charts API when it is run in the browser. We plan to use HTML elements such as drop-down menus and input text boxes to allow users to interact with the data.
Our project contains 4 major pieces of code. 1. The Tweetbee code is adapted from Aaron Hill and Joshua Rosaline's file from GitHub. The code first accesses Twitter API using our personal developer credentials. Next, it defines and calls a function called getAllTweets. We adapted the function to write the tweet data to JSON files. We created a for loop to call the function for each of the congressional Twitter usernames contained in an array. 2. Our JavaScript parsing code is in development. The following is just one of the many data sense making techniques we will use. We rely on FS to import the tweet JSON files. Then we push the text into an array and split text strings into individual words via the split function. We then use regular expression to remove punctuation and convert all letters to lowercase. 3. We will produce visualizations using the Google Charts API, drawing upon what we learned in class in addition to Google's documentation. 4. Our HTML code will generate the user interface.
In our previous video, we identified the use of live data as a potential risk. We have resolved this issue by choosing to run the tool off of locally stored data. This will make our tool more stable and predictable, but does have the disadvantage of not being fully up to date. Going forward, we still may encounter difficulty with handling retweets and using HTML to make our tool look presentable.
Our next step is to write the rest of the code and test the features. The majority of our time will likely be spent coordinating the user selections with the appropriate tweet data. We'll see you in the next deliverable.